Hello everyone. Every Indian's pride, every Rotarian's inspiration, the man on a mission, the Rotary International President Shekhar Mehta has just completed a historic year at the RI headquarters in Chicago and is back home in India. Welcome home, Shekharda. Shekharda, when I had last met you at the Alpha Prepets in Goa, you were 2 months into your tenure. And after that, it has literally been impossible to keep up with your travel schedules even on Facebook. So it's been 5 continents, 40 countries, and countless moments of changing lives and of service. At the end of it all, how does it feel to be back home here and now?
Getting back home is always great. I've always said while I enjoyed thoroughly what I was doing, I was just as much looking forward to coming back home. There's so much to be done. The work keeps going on. So it's great to be back home.
Having signed path-breaking MOUs with the Indian government and with heads of state around the world, having visited countries where no Rotary International President have gone in decades, which are the most satisfying accords that you have signed or, got into during your tenure?
Every time you sign an accord, it is satisfying. Most of these MOUs, I did not sign MOUs outside, but in India, whatever were signed, were all for doing good. Whether it was for literacy, whether it was in literacy, it was for e-learning or for creating happy schools or adult literacy, etc. They were all for trying to make India totally literate. Then for water sanitation, for example. So we are committed to doing huge amount of work along with the government of India on water sanitation, etc. Similarly in healthcare, etc. also. So, and as far as outside is concerned, so to me, whenever I met these heads of states with the president or the prime minister, the idea was not just a courtesy visit, not just exchange pleasantries. Was there a way that Rotary could participate in some meaningful work in their country? So it started off by, for example, me offering to the president of Kenya, I said, I'm meeting you for the first time. It's a gift from Rotary that you can send us 100 children to India and we'll do free heart surgeries for them. I told similarly to the president of Uganda, and you'll be happy to know in your own city in Mumbai, the first 30-40 surgeries have already taken place. So next for Ethiopia, I had told the Ethiopian president that we'll do the surgeries, but we will not want to pay for the travel of the children. So why don't you, I spoke to him, her, and to the Prime Minister thing, and I told them that why don't you organize for the Ethiopian Airlines to bring the children free of cost. Whenever 5 seats are vacant, they can bring the children. Just about a month back, they've signed an MOU with Ethiopian Airlines, the Health Ministry of Ethiopia, and Rotary, where these children will all be sent to India free of cost. And we already have Indian Rotarians scrambling one over the other to do those surgeries. I mean, if the capacity I need 100, I already have capacity for 250 plus heart surgeries. So whenever you want to do good, it's not just me. Anybody, any Rotarian is wanting to come forward and do the good work.
So Shekharda, you have always said that girls form half of the community and hence they should have half of the opportunities. So your commitment to the causes of girl empowerment and literacy has seen unprecedented response from clubs and Rotarians across the world. So with lakhs of girls whose lives have been changed for the better, what are the next goals? Where do we go from here?
We've just started the race. We just started this year to focus, and I'm so happy the focus has been laser focus, absolutely. In so many years in Rotary, I've rarely seen a program percolate down to the grassroots level so fast. I mean, in the month of September when I went, I was already seeing in all of Africa program after program on empowering girls, whether it was skilling them, whether it was menstrual hygiene management, whether it was creating toilets for their schools, teaching them self-defense techniques, etc. Not just in Africa, around the world. So the work has started. It's great, meaningful work that is happening. What now we need to do is we need to collect the data so that we can understand the impact that it is having. I'll give you an example, a program called Virangana, which means the warrior girl, the brave girl, Virangana. So in Calcutta, they are being given martial art training to be able to for self-defense. When I was in Brazil, I remember this lady giving a talk, and she said, by the time I finished my talk, a girl would have been raped in Brazil. The situation is similar in so many other countries, so many of them. So the girls, if they are trained, at least many a times, they'll be able to fend off these attacks on them. So that is the purpose. And with that, the training that was being given in Calcutta, for example, the Calcutta police people somehow came to know of it, and they wanted to see it. When they saw it, they've recruited some of those girls to train them further and probably recruit them in their force. So that is the impact. So we've just started. I'm very happy that this year also one of the most empowered girls that I've come across is Jennifer Jones herself.
Yes,
she has taken this forward, and so will Gordon McNally, which means there's going to be continuity, and we will be able to do a lot of work in empowering girls.
You were at the helm in a very challenging year where there was COVID that was breaking up the world, and there was this the war, the Ukraine war. In spite of that, your journey as a goodwill ambassador and one of peace has continued unabated. So did your thinking and your thoughts and your plans change because of the situation around the world, or it brought out the best in you?
It did bring, in a way, you say very correctly, it brought out the best. In the sense that I reduced my trips, the stay in every country, I tried to reduce it, because the idea was to reach out to as many Rotarians as possible, and I did not know when the next wave would come and my journey would stop. I might have to stop going around. The job of the president, primarily, apart from, of course, managing the affairs of the organization from the governance point of view, is to go around the world and inspire and motivate the Rotarians to do their job. If I don't go there, talking on Zoom is a different thing. I always say Zoom is survival. Meeting in person is life. So I wanted to go out, meet as many people. So I reduced the time stay in each of these places. Nowhere did I have, in the entire year, I just took 2 days off for personal visit, which was in Masai Mara when I went to Kenya. Apart from that, no sightseeing. My sightseeing would just be passing through the cities. I remember going to Warsaw, for example. I didn't go there to see the city.
Okay.
I went to Helsinki. I didn't go to see the city. The idea was just to pass through the city. So it all happened because probably if I had more time, I might have spent half a day seeing a city. But no, that was not the idea. The idea was to meet more people, Rotarians, etc. And the challenge, I so planned my visits that I first wanted to go to places where there I wouldn't be quarantined. I wasn't ready to be quarantined even for a day because that was a waste of a day. I had just limited time, 365 days. I couldn't waste a single day. As it is, I started 1.5 months later that I first went to Chicago. So, every disaster gives you reason to innovate, reason to think differently, reason to do better than what we were doing earlier. I tried to strategize the entire thing around that.
Rotary is seen as the harbinger of hope when it comes to polio. But sadly, we have seen polio has been coming back in a couple of countries. And along with malaria, it continues to be a scourge for the underprivileged. So as somebody who's very deeply connected to the issue, do you think this calls only for disease prevention and management, or a lot of political will and coming together?
You see, the polio success story is because of a combination of everything. We wanted disease prevention, so we worked for it. But political will, without that, it wouldn't have been possible. And that political will happened because of the advocacy that Rotarians did. Now, please understand, if you were the Prime Minister of a country and you see polio is gone for last 10 years from your country, but there are 10,000 people who are getting affected by malaria, what would be your priority? There are 10 other diseases where people are dying. Nobody is dying in your country because of polio. Your focus will move from polio. But Rotary ensured that you not only contributed to the cause, but you also ensured regular immunization. So that was extremely important, but for that it wouldn't have gone. And as far as these, some of the cases that have come, I've spoken to the experts, even Mr. Tedros, who's the WHO head director general, and he also mentioned that yes, these would be possible to control. So yes, it is a cause of worry for us. We don't want that to happen other places, but there is strategy to control it. even for the end game of polio, that the focus now is that by 2026 we want to see the end of the disease. So we are moving towards that. There is a focus. Yes, even in India, I'll give you an example. Just before the year that it ended, there was a huge spike before that. So probably people felt that, oh God, this isn't going, and next year it went off. Who knows? Pakistan and Afghanistan may have seen this spike of 10. Pakistan did not have a case for nearly 1.5 years. That was great. So we were all crestfallen when we saw that Pakistan had a case. But it's okay. It's another day. We'll keep at it. We won't let it go.
Keep going.
Next, we are already working on a program of scale for malaria in Zambia, for example. So even as we work for polio, Rotarians are doing amazing work everywhere in the other areas of focus also. And malaria from Zambia, great work is happening. Tens of thousands of people are going to get impacted there. So different programs are going on.
So Shekhar, the one thing that I have to ask you is your wonderful work at COP26 in getting 10 countries together to pledge to save the mangroves. Could you update us on the projects that have been taken up after that and how it is saving our coastal ecosystem?
2 weeks before I went to COP26, I had no idea what the mangroves do. But when I read about it, what the mangroves do, I was really impressed. And I realized, no wonder they say there would be no Dhaka and probably no Calcutta if there were no mangroves. I myself live in Calcutta and I should have known better. But when things happen, normally you don't realize. But it's very important for all of us to realize and care for climate. If we don't, the climate change that's happening is going to eat up so many low-lying countries which are island countries. We will not even survive if we keep cutting off the mangroves. I understood that, and at COP26, which to me is it has now become one of the most important events of the world each year. Imagine 100 heads of states coming to one place because they all are concerned about the climate.
Absolutely.
Nothing else in the world probably is bringing up all of them together like this, and they're all committed for one cause, that yes, we need to protect. It will take huge political will, but everybody has seen the necessity that we need to do, and the civil society will have to come. I went there for a round-table discussion along with it was under Commonwealth. So the Secretary General of Commonwealth, Patricia Scotland Barnes, she and I were co-leading this roundtable, and we were having that discussion. I always feel that any step, any of these things that we take, it should lead to some action. And there itself, when I listened to everybody, I committed that Rotary is committed that in 7 different countries we will take up this program. And as I moved from there, after I went to places like Bahrain, I went to Mauritius. Every place needed. Bahrain needed mangroves. Mauritius needed. Nigeria already, Kenya already wanted. So then we increased. We said, okay, we'll look at 10. Now it's become 12. So it's increasing. And we'll not say no, because when a group of Rotarians is working, let's say in Mauritius, it doesn't affect what is happening in India.
Right.
So both of these can be taken up together. Both can be done together. So we are already working in 5 different countries already, and the other 5 will also be taken up very soon.
One last question, Shekharda. So I have just listed down some of the beautiful moments of your year. You have held the Indian flag, right, at Houston. Then you went to Pele's Club. You went to Mother Teresa's house. You planted cocoa at Seychelles. You honored Prince Charles. You were standing under the tree planted by Paul Harris. You ran for cancer in Uganda. You were blessed with the Mahatma Award and the Hummingbird Award. Which is the one moment that you would choose as your moment for 21-22? And that will be my last question.
You can't pinpoint one moment. I myself don't remember some of the moments that you pointed. And when I look at them, it was great. To stand under a tree planted by Paul Harris made me think, in a way, metaphorically, imagine I am standing under the tree that Paul Harris planted. Rotary International. I am the president of that. When that tree was planted by him, and physically I was standing under a tree which was planted by him. So it was very touching for me. So I specifically said, take this picture. This is very important for me. standing in front of that that stadium where Pele spent his life kicking. So that kick, the pose which is there, is for kicking out polio from the world. The idea. Different things, two memorable things. One was my meeting with the Prime Minister of India, Mr. Modi. It was a great meeting. I thought it would just last a few minutes. It lasted for more than half an hour. The very opening remarks by him put things very easy. He said, "और बताइए शेखर जी कैसे हैं आप?" I mean, you don't expect the conversation to be so casual. So, which was very nice. Even the ending was very on a note of humor. It ended, and the one thing I really liked was when he held my hand and said, "जाइए देश विदेश की सेवा करिए और हो सके तो देश में पोषण पे जरा काम करिएगा, महिलाओं के पोषण." So, which to me is a big compliment, where a strong Prime Minister is asking Rotary also to participate along with the government. To me, I took it as a great compliment. So that was a very important moment, a compliment for the organization, for Rotary. And the other was when I was in Uganda, the parliament, the speaker of the parliament, he invited me to the parliament. We were all sitting in the VIP gallery up there, and the proceedings were happening, and suddenly we find there is a motion welcoming Rashi and me to Uganda and talking about the great work that Rotary is doing around the world and in Uganda. And then, Sree Nandy, there was a debate on that motion for 2 hours. 20 members of parliament got up to speak, and all of them had all praises for Rotary. So that was quite a moment where you see that in a parliament there is a resolution which is not just an ordinary debate. It goes on for 2 hours talking about this. So these are some of the moments. There are many others, but these two definitely stand out. Also was good in the sense that I find him to be a very down-to-earth, humble person. The first time I was in a hall full of commissioners and ambassadors, etc., and he was meeting everyone. But I found he spent the highest amount of time with me discussing about empowering girls. The moment he heard our focus is empowering girls, he said, "We are also working there." And I said, "Can we work together?" He said, "Yeah, give me your visiting card. It'll be a pleasure to work together." When I went to give him the Award of Honor, which is Rotary's highest award, in Kigali, where I met him, and on the sides of Chogam. Again, we talked for half an hour talking about what we do, what he is doing, his charities are doing, and how we can work together. To me, in every leader, humility is the thing which inspires me the most, impresses me the most.
So how is your celebration happening in Bengal with no?
Yeah, the celebration already started the moment I landed. I can't believe it. Gave me such a rousing and a warm welcome. It was unbelievable. The next day, the Honor of India gave me such a warm welcome, and end of the year, and we partied till midnight and stole a few moments in the next year also. But it's been a wonderful journey, I can tell you. And I look back with great satisfaction at I had wanted to grow more, do more. We grew more like we've never grown more in the last many years. Do more, empowering girls is the best example of do more, apart from so many other things that we do. The third was enhancing the stature of the organization, which was by this various visits, and not just visits, but working with them. And we'll keep each and every promise that we've made. We will keep all of them. So these were some amazing things that happened, and probably the journey of service will keep carrying on.
It continues.
Yeah. Oh, it does, absolutely.
So thank you, Shekharda, for being your candid and inspiring best. Kolkata is waiting for their hero's homecoming, and as I asked Shekharda if it's going to be with a celebratory cricket match for him, Shekharda says, "All work and no play makes Shekhar Mehta a dull boy," and dull boy he is not. So Shekharda, continue to move mountains of human grief and suffering, changing lives one at a time. And on behalf of all Rotarians in District 3141, we all are with you forever as the journey continues. Thank you so much.